What if everything you've been taught about the 18th and 19th centuries is incomplete? What if, woven between the lines of our history books, there existed a global superpower, a civilization of staggering advancement and architectural genius that was systematically erased from our collective memory? We are told the story of empires, the British, the French, the Russian, but we are not told the story of Tartary or Tartaria, a name that once sprawled across ancient maps, encompassing a vast portion of the Eurasian continent. A land said to be inhabited by giants, not just in myth, but in the sheer physical scale of what they built. This is the story of the lost giants and the world that tried to bury them. Our journey begins not with a battle, but with a map. In the 1700s, if you looked at a reputable European atlas, you would see it. Tartaria, Great Tartaria, independent Tartaria, it wasn't a small territory. It was colossal, stretching from the Caspian Sea to the Pacific, from the Siberian tundra down to the borders of China and India. French encyclopedias, like the renowned one by Diderot and D'Alembert, described it not as a wasteland, but as a specific categorized empire. But by the early 20th century, it was gone. Vanished from maps and textbooks, the official explanation, a simple cartographic error, a holdover from the days of Marco Polo, a misunderstanding of the Mongol Tatar tribes. They say it was just a blank space on the map that Europeans finally filled in. But that doesn't explain the buildings. Scattered across the territories of the former Russian Empire, and even in the heart of modern cities, stand structures that defy the official timeline. Palaces, warehouses, triumphal gates, and colossal buildings that share a strange, consistent aesthetic. They are often attributed to unknown architects or hastily credited to later known figures. They are built on a scale that seems unnecessary for their stated purposes, grandiose, built to last millennia. And they are often connected by a mysterious, star-shaped network of fortifications and roads. St. Petersburg, we are told, was built from scratch on a swamp by Peter the Great in the early 1700s. A monumental feat of engineering with 18th century technology. But look at these foundations. Look at the sheer mass of granite, the colossal columns, the intricate, heavy stonework. How was this possible in 2 decades, in a desolate swamp, with the tools of the time? The official story asks us to believe in a superhuman effort. But what if the city or its core wasn't built by Peter but for him, or perhaps found by him? This is our first key turning point, the Great Fire. Not one fire, but a series of catastrophic, continent-spanning conflagrations in the 18th and 19th centuries. Fires that ravaged cities from Moscow to Chicago to Tokyo. Official history records them as tragic accidents, but the pattern is unsettling. These fires have a peculiar habit of targeting city centers filled with these anomalous, megalithic structures. After the fires, the rebuilding is swift, and the architectural style often changes. The old, heavy, ornate style is replaced with lighter, more modern brick and plaster. It's as if something was being cleaned up, covered up. The Moscow Fire of 1812 is the perfect example. As Napoleon's army retreats, Moscow burns. The official story: Russians set their own city ablaze as a scorched earth tactic. But contemporary accounts describe explosions, strange phenomena. And after the fire settles, what happens? A massive, and I mean massive, reconstruction project begins. But here's the surprising detail: much of the rebuilding uses rubble. The old, giant stone blocks from the destroyed Tartarian buildings are broken up and used as filler in new, simpler walls. The evidence of the old world was literally being used as the foundation for the new. So who were these giants of Tartaria? The word itself is provocative. Folklore from the Ukraine to the Caucasus to Siberia is riddled with tales of a race of giants who built cyclopean structures. But what if giant wasn't just literal? What if it was a metaphor for a giant civilization? A global, interconnected culture with a mastery of free energy, perhaps atmospheric electricity, evidenced by the ubiquitous ornate and towering spires we now call church domes, or minarets structures that suspiciously resemble giant electrical capacitors. A theory born from a simple, haunting observation. Look at photographs from the mid-19th century from cities worldwide. You will see buildings where the ground floor is partially buried. Doors and windows are halfway underground. In some, new doors have been crudely cut into what was once the second-story window. Official history calls it urban infill or changed street levels, but the scale is global, and the timing is concurrent with those great fires. The theory suggests a catastrophic geophysical event in the not-so-distant past, a massive wave of silt and mud that swept across continents, burying the first floors of the Old World. The survivors then dug out, reclaiming these structures, often forgetting who built them. We stood before a chilling hypothesis that a forgotten, advanced civilization was wiped from memory by catastrophe and design. But a hypothesis needs evidence. To find it, we must leave the map rooms and libraries behind. We must journey into the places they told us were empty, the frozen steppes, the desolate deserts at the heart of the lost empire, and into the very ground beneath our oldest cities. If the giants of Tartaria were real, and if a great reset occurred, we should find their bones. Not just figuratively, but literally. And we do, but you've likely never heard of them. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, American newspapers were filled with astonishing reports. From Minnesota to Nevada, archaeologists and miners were unearthing giant human skeletons, 7, 8, even 10 feet tall. The New York Times, the Scientific American, local gazettes, they all reported it. These finds were documented, photographed, and often sent to the Smithsonian Institution. And then, silence. The bones vanished. The reports were dismissed as hoaxes. The official line became, "Giants are myth." But what if the giant wasn't the species, but the stature of their achievement? Let's follow the technology. Look at the architecture they now call Moorish, Gothic, or Neoclassical. See the repeating patterns, the star fortresses. These are not medieval castles. They are geometric, low-lying, star-shaped bastions with immense, sloping earthen walls. They are found from Europe to Japan, from North America to Africa. Their design is mathematically perfect for deflecting cannon fire, but many were built, we are told, before cannons were effective. What were they really defending against, or containing? And then the buildings themselves. The so-called World's Fairs of the 19th century, the Crystal Palace, the White City of Chicago. We're told these were temporary marvels, built of plaster and wood to showcase industry. But look at the photographs. The sheer, permanent-looking grandeur, the colossal scale. The intricate, prefabricated ironwork. Is it easier to believe they built these breathtaking cities for a one-year exhibition and then tore them down, or that they found these structures, used them for the fair, and then dismantled them to hide the evidence? Many were destroyed by, you guessed it, mysterious, devastating fires. This brings us to our second and most critical turning point, the Great Tartarian Reset of the 19th century. We are taught about the age of nationalism, the rise of modern empires. But what if this was also the age of a coordinated historical cover-up? After the mud floods and fires, new authorities needed a new past, a past that belonged to them. So, they engaged in a wholesale rebranding of the ancient, global architecture that survived. That stunning palace in St. Petersburg, Romanov, that immense fortress in Vienna, Habsburg, that sprawling complex in Beijing, Qing dynasty. Every surviving megastructure was claimed by a rising royal family or a new government. They became symbols of their power, their continuity. The original builders, the Tartarian civilization, were scrubbed from the record. Their name became a cartographic ghost. Their technology was repurposed or destroyed. But in the chaos of the reset, clues were left behind. Like a criminal who can't help but return to the scene, let's talk about windows and doors. Examine these old buildings, the ones attributed to the 1700s. You will often find windows bricked up or doors sealed, only for new ones to be cut awkwardly into the wall above them. Why? If you built a palace, would you design it with half its windows buried or leading to a brick wall? No. Unless you were adapting a structure built for a different ground level, a pre-flood ground level. And the interiors, vast, cavernous halls with soaring ceilings. We call them ballrooms, churches, train stations, but their original purpose feels different. They feel like public atriums, like exchange halls, like parts of a vast, interconnected system. And at their hearts, often removed, we find evidence of strange fixtures. Massive, grounded metal rods, giant stone basins, and conduits for what? Not for gas lighting. The theory suggests these were nodes in a global, atmospheric energy grid. A free, wireless power system, lost in the reset, its remnants mistaken for religious or decorative art. Now the emotional core of our story. Imagine being a survivor. The mud has receded, the fires have died. You emerge into a shattered world of gargantuan, half-buried ruins. You don't remember how they were built. The knowledge is gone. You scavenge. You move into the second floor of a colossal, ornate building you could never replicate. You tell your children, our great-grandfathers built this, but you whisper doubts. Authorities arrive with new stories, new flags, new history books. They give you an identity, a nationality, a simplified past. To question it is madness. So you forget. You bury the truth not in the ground but in your own mind. This is the true victory of the reset. It wasn't just about destroying buildings. It was about making the very idea of the lost giants seem laughable, mythical, the stuff of fantasy. It was about making us disbelieve our own eyes when we look at a building with a door to nowhere, or a star fort in the middle of a plain. We have followed the trail of the giants from the maps to the mud-flooded streets, from the star forts to the silent, repurposed halls. We have seen the scale of the forgetfulness. But no event of this magnitude happens by accident. In our final chapter, we must ask the most dangerous question: who were the architects of this historical amnesia? And what did they have to gain from burying a world? The answer lies not in a shadowy, singular cabal, but in a convergence of interests. A perfect storm of ideology, ambition, and fear that swept across the 19th century. On one side, the rising nation-states. Russia expanding eastward into Tartarian lands. America pushing west across a continent dotted with mysterious mounds. The European empires consolidating power. A unified, ancient, advanced global civilization didn't fit their narrative of racial and national superiority. It was an inconvenient truth. On the other side, the new scientific and academic institutions. Their authority was built on a new, linear, and rational view of history, a progression from savagery to civilization. The concept of a catastrophic reset that shattered a golden age was a threat to their entire Darwinian model of social progress. So, evidence was curated. Giant skeletons were lost. Reports were filed away. Dissenting voices were ridiculed as antiquarians or mystics. This is our final turning point, the weaponization of time. To hide Tartaria, they didn't just destroy buildings. They had to alter our perception of time itself. They gave us a new, stretched chronology. They took the 1,000 years of darkness and decline following the reset, the real dark ages, and painted it across a much longer canvas. This made the surviving Tartarian structures seem impossibly old, attributing them to ancient Romans or Byzantines or lost medieval geniuses, eras safely distant and disconnected from us. But the people remembered, in fragments, in folklore. Listen to the old tales of the Slavic bog-eater, enormous knightly heroes who built mountain ranges. Hear the Native American legends of the star people who taught them before a great flood. Remember the ubiquitous global myth of a great flood and a prior age of giants. These aren't just fairy tales. They are the scattered, post-traumatic memories of humanity, echoing down through generations who could no longer explain the cyclopean ruins they lived among now. Let's examine the ultimate evidence: the technology that was actively suppressed. Nikola Tesla, in the early 20th century, spoke of tapping into the wheelwork of nature for free, wireless energy. He was ridiculed, his funding cut, his towers destroyed. But what if he wasn't inventing something new, but rediscovering something ancient? Look at the old photographs of cities before widespread electrification. They were forests of ornate, towering poles with intricate metalwork connected by webs of wires. We're told they were for telegraphs or early arc lighting. But their design is excessively complex, monumental. What if they were the last, decaying remnants of a Tartarian grid being clumsily adapted for a lesser purpose? And the patents. The 19th century is filled with strange, now forgotten patents for atmospheric motors, earth batteries, and agravic energy devices. Many by inventors who died in obscurity, their plans shelved. The technology for the reset was also a technology of control. By burying the knowledge of free energy and self-sufficient megalithic construction, the new powers ensured civilization would depend on them for coal, for oil, for centralized power, for everything. So, where does the trail end? In the most forbidden places, the basement archives of national museums, the sealed sections of the Vatican Library, the restricted access tunnels beneath old capitals like St. Petersburg and Washington, D.C. Cities built, we are told, on swamps, yet riddled with ancient subterranean passages. What lies down there? Pre-flood infrastructure, libraries in a forgotten script, the true, unaltered chronicles of the Tartarian age. The lost giants of Tartaria were not just a race of tall people. They were a metaphor for a lost potential of humanity. A civilization that may have built in harmony with the Earth's forces, creating structures that were both generators and shelters, art and technology fused into one. Their end came not from invasion, but from a planetary catastrophe, a mud flood, a pole shift, an electrical discharge from the cosmos that plunged the world into a literal and figurative dark age. The they who tried to hide this history were the new masters of that dark age. They took our shattered world, gave us new names, new borders, and a new, limited history. They turned our ancestors' greatest achievements into their own family legacies. They made us small, so their power would feel absolute, but they couldn't erase everything. The proof is in the pudding stone foundations, in the bricktop arches, in the global myths, and in the sheer, staggering beauty of the buildings that logic says shouldn't exist. The story of Tartaria is the greatest detective story in history. It's a challenge, left in stone and soil, for us to piece together. It asks us to look at our world with new eyes, to question the official story, to trust the anomaly, and to remember that history is not just written by the victors, it is also buried beneath their palaces. The giants are gone, but their monuments remain, whispering a truth they tried to hide. All we have to do is listen,